Well, our application is definitely working, but I want you to notice some really awkward behavior. If I refresh the page right now and then click on the Generate button, nothing happens. That's because I haven't entered in a length. I also haven't selected any valid characters. So just to kind of help guide our users, I think that we should try to disable this button from being clicked until we have both a length and at least one of these character sets has been selected. Now in general, to actually disable a button, all we have to do is add a disabled attribute to the button element. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go back over to my component template, and inside there I'll find the button element right here down towards the bottom. If I just add in an attribute of disabled like so, and then save this, the button will be disabled on the screen. And so it would be kind of clear to our users that, hey, they need to do something before they can click that. So this is pretty much what we want. But obviously, we want to update that disabled attribute after a user has entered in a length and checked one of these things as well. So in order to do so, we're going to set up another property binding, just like we've been doing on those input elements. Remember, on the input element down here, we've got a bound property. This right here means take a look at the password property of our component. Anytime that changes, reassign that value to the value property of the input. So we want to do the same thing, but this time we want to affect the disabled property of the button. So to do this, we will wrap the disabled property with those same kind of square brackets like so. I'll then put in my set of double quotes, and remember, whatever we put inside those double quotes is now going to be evaluated as though it were JavaScript. So just to get started, let's first begin by only enabling the button after the user has entered in a length. So I'll say not length like so. So how does this work? Well, when our application first boots up, length is equal to 0. Not 0 is equal to true. So we can imagine that like true would be stuck in right there. That means yes, do disable the button. So having not length is going to work to make sure that we only enable the button after the user has entered an actual length property. Let's test this out really quickly. So I'll save this. I'll flip back over. So now the button is disabled by default, but if I enter in a length, I can see the generate button lights right up. Okay, so I'd say that definitely works. So now let's add in some additional checks there to also look and make sure that we've got at least one of these things checked. Okay, now this check, adding in the Boolean logic for this is going to be just a little bit more complicated. So if you understand what's going on right here, this is really all you need to understand. The Boolean stuff that we're about to add in is going to get a little bit nasty. I just want to tell you right up front. So this line is going to be a little bit long, so I'm going to first do a little bit of indentation here, just to give myself some space to type. Now I'm going to remove the not length, and I will replace it with not, so exclamation, then a set of parentheses, and inside there I'll say length, and another set of parentheses, include letters, or include symbols, or include numbers. And then I'll close off both parentheses. I'll zoom out for just a second so you can see that whole statement. So again, this says, take a look and make sure that at least one of include letters, symbols, or numbers is true. And make sure that there is a length entered. And then take the opposite of all that to decide whether or not the button should be disabled. Okay, so to test that, I'll save this line. I'll flip back over. Now if I enter in a length by itself, nope, no good. I have to also check one of these boxes. And once I do, now the generate button lights up. As soon as I uncheck one of the boxes, the generate button goes away once again. Now I can hit generate, and I still see my random password. All right, so I'd say that's a pretty good improvement. So I think this application looks pretty good right now. Now, the last big thing I think we should fix is the styling. So right now the application is kind of ugly. I think we should add in a little bit of styling just to make sure this thing looks a little bit better. So quick pause, and we'll start to add in some CSS in just a moment.